What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. And another good day yesterday. Let's pull it up just so I can be specific. So it looks like 4-1. Falcons plus 5.5 was my top play. Pelicans, cash. Bijan over 15.5, longest reception, cash. Nuggets and Kings. I was mad at myself for a lot of the game for not taking Nuggets team total over, but I ended up getting there at the last second with the full game over 239. So that did hit. And the loser was in college basketball, uh, Rio Grande, University of Texas, Rio Grande. I guess it's had no business being on that game. Vino, yeah. I'm trying. I don't know what I'm doing with that, but Vino, it's good to be back with you. How's everything on your end?
Yesterday was good, Ski, and it was really good because I haven't had a lot of big plays recently, but I had one last night, and we talked about it here on the Tampa Bay team total over. They don't win the game. In fact, if I go back to the show and run the tape back, I think we could have parlayed with each other because I know you had a lean towards Atlanta. Um, and I had the Tampa Bay team total that gets there. NBA, I did have the Nuggets team total over, so the 136 was nice. That was 2-0. And then college hoop, Virginia Tech, Western Carolina over was nice. And I had the Missouri team total up and over 92. They had 52 at halftime. I thought I was in the clear, but sort of let off the gas pedal against a team they were 27-point favorites against and only wound up with 85. So 3-1 will take. It was a good day. And for what it's worth, it actually pushed me back to number one in the NFL at Wager Talk. So it was a good night.
Nice. All right, let's see if we can keep it up here today. We have most games it looks like we've had all week, in the NBA, at least on Friday. So we'll start at the top. Cleveland, Washington, open 14.5. That's where it's sitting. Total, though, has gone up from 238.5 as high as 244.5. And when I look at who is on the injury report, Jared Allen, Merrill, Nance, Struce, all out for Cleveland. Bilal, Chris Middleton, Corey Kispert, Alex R, Malachi Branham, I think all out. Yeah, all out for this Wizards team. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for me to back this Wizards team. Like I've just seen them. They'll be in a game for three. They'll be in a game for 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters, and they just absolutely implode. Um, the Cavs still a team I just don't trust defensively, especially without Jared Allen. And I don't like that, Merrill's out to space the floor. This is the game I'm ultimately going to stay away from. But Vino, is there anything you like here?
Yeah, I didn't play Ski. I see the total has taken a ton of money, up 6 points all the way to 244. I don't know that I could argue that because, again, to your point, we've kind of harped on it on this show the lack of defense shown by the Cavaliers for the majority of the season, but they can still score like crazy. Washington gives it up like crazy. So I don't know. Maybe early money was right. I don't think I'll find my way to the over in that game, but I have a lot of difficulty with most of these games today just because, as I said yesterday, I don't know what the long layoff does to these teams. It's probably specific to each team, but yesterday we saw the Pelicans, who actually had played on Monday, come up with 143. They look pretty good in their effort, but some of these teams that haven't played since last Sunday or Saturday, playing now on Friday, I just don't know how to react to whether it'll be rest or rust.
Very fair. Very fair. Pretty big break. So we shall see on that one. Not a game I want to get involved with. Hawks and Pistons did open up 6.5 for Detroit. Looks like 7.5. Total hasn't really moved. Don't only see Jones on the Isaac Jones on the injury report for the Pistons. For Atlanta though, Dante, Durisic, Porzingis, Trae Young, all out. Um, I don't know. I feel like this Hawks team matches up okay with the Pistons. Like maybe if I like Atlanta, I just want to take Jalen Johnson over his points, or PRA or something like that. But I want to think Atlanta can stay in this game here, Rob Veno. Any opinion from you on Atlanta and Detroit?
Yeah, I would look Atlanta's way just because Detroit's been on such a slide. And again, I don't know if the layoff was good for Detroit to not have played in a while, but you know, they are 1-7. I think I'm staring at here. ATS last 8 games, 1-7. Played Atlanta, only beat them by 1 point, 99-98. Very recently, 1st of December. So for those reasons, I think I would like to look towards Atlanta first just because Detroit's not playing nearly as well as they were playing at the beginning of the season. Asking them to cover and win by 8 is a little bit much. However, again, the dilemma I run into is maybe they needed to break. Maybe they needed to regroup and get back to where they were started the season. So very, very slight lean towards the Atlanta Hawks here, plus the points. Money's going against me here, but I might lean that way.
Yeah, I'm looking honestly, Vino. These first few games, I'm not really liking the last few games. I'm liking a lot more. So I'm gonna just keep going down the list here. Bulls and Hornets did open 3.5 for the Bulls. Looks like three. Total came down from 233.5 as low as 229. As far as the injuries, a lot of them. Collins, Trey Jones, Okoro, Jalen Smith, Kobe Watt, all probable. DeSumo and Herder out. For Charlotte, Diabate probable. LaMelo, Connaughton, Treyman, Colin Sexton, and Grant Williams look like they're all out for this Charlotte Hornets team. I don't know, Vino. I don't really trust the offense that's going to be out there. I want to say under, but I also don't trust the defense. Not a game I love, but the market did push the total down. I guess I'd have to agree with that. What do you think?
I can't play the Bulls. The Bulls have fallen off a cliff. 2-11 ATS, 3-10 straight up last 13. Nothing going right for them. All that talk early on about defense right out the window. They're giving up a ton of points each and every night now. I would have been to Charlotte if not for the injury list. Probably could have gotten to Charlotte team total to tell you the truth, if not for the injury list here. But again, like you say, there's just not enough to like either side or total in these first few games to commit or have any conviction taking a stance here. I could not play Chicago. I mean, there's no way. It would have to be Charlotte or nothing in some way, shape, or form.
All right, let's not waste any time. We will go, and I think I'm missing it. Yeah, I'm missing a game here. So, um, I won't have the banner right now, but Indiana, that's how much I care about this game, I guess. Indiana and Philadelphia. Open 7.5, looks like 7. Total came down from 229.5 to 224.5. For Philly, Embiid is probable, Maxi is questionable, Oubre's out, Wofford's out. The same, my thing just refreshed and went to a different page, but the same people were out for the Pacers. Yeah, I don't understand why this line is where it's at with Maxi downgraded to questionable. Honestly, I feel like it should be a lot lower. So I don't know. I don't like when the line feels real funny like this. Is it why would it still be 7 with Maxi questionable? Are they saying he's still going to play? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, it makes no sense, Ski. First of all, you can't. I mean, Tyrese Maxey is the guy, right? We're not telling anybody anything they don't already know. And it almost is telling us that he's going to play. I mean, with the numbers sticking where it is, if that's the case, I would have been on over as well. But I'll say this: I really like the way Indiana's played lately. I know they haven't racked up a ton of wins, but they seem to be getting better and better and better. We've talked about their health throughout the season not being great. It looks to me still. This could be one of those games, Ski. I'll say this: where later on in the day, where I take advantage and just bet over in this contest because I don't think there's going to be a lot of defense on the floor. And I do think there'll be a lot of back and forth, up and down, whether it's Tyrese or not Tyrese. And in that case, you wait this thing out until he's ruled. potentially out, and you get an even better number. Um, no bet on the game, but I could be one who goes against the grain where that total is concerned and plays over.
All right. We're gonna move over to the next game here, Vino. That is Jazz and Grizzlies. This one, this one's interesting to me too. Opened up 6.5. Looks like 7.5's out there. Total went from 239.5 as high as 242.5. Let's look at the injury report. For Utah, only Niang is out. Everybody else available. For Memphis, though, you do have John Morant probable, but still no Clark. There's no Edie again. Jerome, Conchar, Pittman, Small, all out. Um, this is like, why are the Grizzlies still -7 here? The Grizzlies defense has looked good. The Jazz defense has looked pathetic. I mean, I guess you can start there and they're at home. But the Grizzlies offense hasn't looked great. Maybe they're gonna get a boost with John Morant there. I don't know. This line it is 7 for a reason, 7.5 for a reason, Ravino. What do you think about Utah and Memphis?
If we could trust any consistency out of Utah's road offense, I would have played total pretty easily here, up and over. But again, it's something that we've documented a lot on this show. Utah's discrepancy between what they score at home and what they score on the road. And it's not like they can't score on the road, it's the consistency of them doing it. Because they can easily go from 101 to 121 on the road. If I knew they were going to get to 120, they might against this Memphis defense. Again, Zach Edey's not in the game. That's basically all of their rim protection. And without him, you get to the hoop a little bit easier if you're Utah. So I could probably build a case if I really wanted to play this game over with Ja back because Utah's not going to stop anybody from scoring. But the number is up there, Skee, 243.5. And, with a road team that has not scored consistently enough to, although I'll say this, boy, you look at their game logs and they can give up 130 in an instant. Utah can. And you don't have to do much as the road underdog here to get it up and over at that point. So it would be the only way I look. I would have to look Memphis, Utah over the total here, or else just not play.
All right. Over the total, I can understand that as well. Yeah, I think it's moving in the right direction. I agree with that play on over. I will write that on my short list actually. So my bad here. Just give me Utah over or on the short list. All right. Nets and Mavs. This is a game I'm pretty interested in here. Opened up -7. Looks like 8 pretty much everywhere. Total open 224.5, down as low as 221.5. For Brooklyn, no Highsmith, still no Cam Thomas. For Dallas, you have D'Angelo Russell questionable, Daniel Gafford doubtful, still no Kyrie for them. Um, man, this one it just for me it just boils down to I don't view Dallas as this kind of a team to be laying 8 points. I don't really care who it's against, unless maybe it's the Wizards. Maybe they deserve. But I don't know. The Nets, I feel like they've been playing solid basketball lately, or at least better basketball than they have earlier in the season lately. Um, and the Mavericks, they're 0-5 as a home favorite this year. Like they're just gonna have to show me that they can win by margin, that they figured it out. I think combination of those things it's Nets or nothing for me at +8. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, just, I mean, to put even more context to your point, this is a Dallas team that actually was an 8 or something point favorite over New Orleans on this floor. In New Orleans in a back-to-back situation, and New Orleans won the game straight up. So talk about untrustworthy.
Oh,
Dallas,
yeah, I remember that game actually, now you say that.
right? Yeah, I mean, you can't. At that time, and maybe still is. I think New Orleans is a little better now than they were then, but that might have been one of the worst teams in the NBA. And Dallas couldn't even win a game straight up. But what I have noticed here, Ski, when I went over some stuff this morning, was 6-0 to the over is the Dallas team total in their last 6 games. So they've been scoring a little bit better. I, we talked about, or we talk about their bigs being an asset, but when you don't have Lively or Gafford, and all you have is AD, who the only thing I read about AD nowadays is where he's going to get traded to. There's not a lot of protection at the rim for them either. So Brooklyn, in all likelihood, I think can stay in this game. I think your point's well taken. You can't trust Dallas laying a number like this. We just laid out the reason why. The question becomes, do I think the game is an over or an under? And Dallas's team total kind of suggests to me, and especially since they have no rim protection on the other side or limited rim protection on the other side, that maybe this line has moved in the wrong direction where total is concerned. Dallas has been scoring good enough lately, and the Nets seem like they'll get theirs here too. So that might be one I end up playing Dallas Brooklyn over.
Um, I can understand. I don't want. I'm gonna leave the total to you. B man says Mavs been playing good last five.
At
Yeah,
least offensively.
yeah, I agree with that, Rob Veno. But the Nets have too. I mean, Nets have won 3 of their last 5 games. Nets playing all right too. It's these 8 points that we got to worry about here.
Mhm.
Um, if it's Mavs that pick
They're
them,
important, Ski. They're
yeah,
important.
they're
Those
the
eight
equalizer. If this Mavs pick them, okay, we're talking a different game here. But +8, I think they can be competitive. Um, also, that game we were talking about, it might have been after that game. Maybe it's another one. But Nimhar was saying, I think we're trying to give AD the ball too much. I just,
Oh.
you didn't hear that one?
No, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, he said we're trying to give AD the ball too much. I don't know. I don't like Dallas in this game. It's Nets +8 for me. Next one up, last one in the NBA: Wolves and Warriors. Open the Warriors -2. I see 1.5 most places. Total open 227.5. As high as 231.5. Looking at the injury report, Anthony Edwards is questionable. Conley's out. No Draymond. No Horford. Jackson Davis is probable. Um, you would hate to, be missing 2 bigs versus Minnesota team is the first thing I think about here for the Warriors. But if Minnesota is minus Anthony Edwards, I mean, missing a big chunk of offense versus Warriors team as well. If Anthony Edwards plays, obviously, I think. Well, here's what I'm thinking, Vino. The Wolves ended the Warriors season last year, um, and I just know teams always remember that, and when they stick it back to them the next time they see him. Warriors at home. Minnesota has not been good on the road this season, at least as far as ATS. I know this one is just a pick 'em. Minnesota, I feel like they beat up on the less than's. I, and even they've been playing the less than's and not covering lately. I feel like Minnesota's just been a fade lately, honestly. But they've been sneaking away with some wins and not covering. Then it finally caught up, and I think they lost their last game to Phoenix. Um, I think the Warriors come with the greater energy from the gate. I think it's Warriors first half, and I think it's Warriors full game. Haven't got there yet, but that's my thoughts. What do you think?
I could see it, especially if Anthony Edwards doesn't go. I mean, Minnesota is one of those teams, Ski, that I mean, we kind of put Denver in that basket of teams that just, they score. Minnesota scored real well, just don't stop anybody anymore. It's like they could care less on the defensive end at this point in time. That's why they don't get a lot of covers because they're still priced kind of in the premium range. But well, let's go ahead. Let's use your adage here. If you can't get stops, we can't trust you. This game doesn't land in that type of point spread, but I'm just trying to point out where Minnesota sits right now. They sit as a team that can score and doesn't really defend. For Golden State, it's probably going to have to be a game where they want they want the scoreboard to be higher. I think this game's going to go over. I think Golden State with I mean, without Draymond and without Horford, it's just the defensive capacity on that side of the floor just to me is not really good. So for Golden State, it's got to be a 124 plus point effort out of them tonight, which you can get to against Minnesota. They allow a lot of people to get more than their share of points. I would look either Golden State team total over or a full game over, probably more full game over. But I stopped there because Anthony Edwards, if he doesn't play, I don't know if I want to be on full game over. In that case, I would lean toward the solo team total of Golden State. I think that's the side I would go to here. Just don't see a lot out of Minnesota's defense at this point in time. And I think Golden State's going to play really fast basketball tonight and probably score on Minnesota.
I agree with that. It definitely seems like more of an over game, um, especially without some of those bigs for the Warriors. They're gonna have to score. I agree with that. All right, that's the NBA card for today. Vino, I've been, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Lately, I've been getting the football a little bit later, and it's been working out for me. I just been focusing more on basketball throughout the week, and it's been working well for me. Um, but I mean, we do usually talk about a little bit of NFL Week 15, so I'm gonna just scroll down the list and talk about a few
Right.
games that maybe jump out to me. Um, Actually, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to your boys first. How about that? We just saw my guys on Monday. Let's go to your guys. Denver and Green Bay. I think that's a pretty good game right there. That one open -1 for Green Bay. Looks like 2 or 2.5. Total went from 41.5 as high as, well, actually, no, I see 42.5 pretty much everywhere. Um, Denver, they're top team in the league so far this season. As far as record wise, 11-2, I believe. They haven't lost so far at home, if I'm not mistaken. How many games have they won in a row? I mean, they won a lot of games in a row too. 9, 10 games in a row, something like that. Um, I don't know. They're underdogs. Is Denver being disrespected here? Um, yeah, is Denver being disrespected? What do you? I know you usually like Denver to do versus the less than's. What do you think they're going to do versus Green Bay this week?
Yeah, I mean, if I played them, it wouldn't be based on their offense. But I agree with you. I was kind of shocked that they were listed as a home underdog and Green Bay took a little bit of money on top of that. Not a lot, but a little bit of money towards the Green Bay side. I will say again that I don't know what everybody's so impressed with the Green Bay Packers. I know they're getting wins. They're 9-4, I think, straight up, and they've gotten Josh Jacobs the last couple of weeks has gotten untracked a little bit, but they didn't play a clean second half last week in Chicago, and they played half a football game. They played really good in the first half, and you say, wow, Green Bay's good. And then you watch the second half, and you're like, nah, maybe they're not that good. If Denver was any better offensively, I would like them a little bit more. My inclination is to play under in this game. The weather's going to be pretty good, surprisingly, for Denver, Colorado in December. So weather won't be a problem in this game. But I thought 42.5 was a little high. Denver's pass rush is crazy good, and Jordan Love will make mistakes if you get to him. And of course, Bo Nix will make mistakes if you get to him as well. Maybe not turnover wise, but poor passes. He doesn't take sacks, but he'll do the wrong thing with the football. So I would probably look under Skee. I didn't bet it. I am a little bit shocked that Green Bay's given the points here. I think if you had to play a side, I would take Denver plus. And probably you wouldn't even take the plus. I'd probably just play a money line on their home field to win a game. Both teams need to win. There's no more incentive for one side than the other here. Only thing is it's a non-conference game, which doesn't factor into tiebreakers.
I understand why you feel that way. Justin Coolin feels that way too. I mean, it seems pretty easy to go to the window and bet the Broncos. I think majority of people are going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Um, I'm pretty sure I will be on the Packers in this game. I'm pretty certain. This Broncos team, they're not that good. They're
They're a
not.
fraud. They're the biggest
They're
11-2
fraud.
fraud ever. Yeah, they
They're
are.
fraud. They're not that good. They've been teetering on a loss in all of these wins. Like if I just pull up let me pull up their schedule actually. That
Yeah.
game, I mean, all of these games, I don't even have to point out one. They've been so close to just losing every single week. I feel like Broncos are overrated. Um, I think it's pretty telling where the line is at right now. So I like the Packers. I'll disagree with you on this one, Rob Veno. I'm gonna call you a homer in this one.
Look, I'm going to save my money anyway, Skee. It's okay. Save some money here. Um, yeah, there's no affection for me with that offense of Denver and Sean Payton's play calling for sure.
All right, let's talk about my boys, the Chargers, coming off
Mhm.
that win. That was a nice win in that last one. I did have them. Now they go into Kansas City to face the Chiefs. Open to -4.5 for Kansas City, up to 5.5. Maybe might go towards 6. Um, Total came down from 44.5 to 41.5. I can understand why the totals come down. Um, Kansas City so banged up. I mean, the offensive line is just as banged up as the Chargers, right? Um, it's going to either have to be quick passes and yards after catch for for Mahomes and probably for the Chargers too if they elect to pass, or it's going to be a heavy run game. And I do trust the Chargers to run on the Chiefs. Um, you know, I keep saying the Chargers definitely can run block. They cannot pass protect, and you have two good running backs there. To do the job for the Chargers. So if I think the pass is both teams running the ball, it's a lot of tick, 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 tick. So I pretty much agree with the line, the total coming down. And man, I want to say Kansas City's dead, Rob. I mean, they're too banged up. I feel like I've seen enough. And that's my guy too over there,
Mhm.
Mahomes, but I think it's time to throw in the flag. What do you think here between Chiefs and Chargers?
Well, situationally, first off, it's more difficult for LA, right? They played Monday night. Now they got a short work week. Go play Kansas City, a team who, like you say, they're not mathematically eliminated, but they're very close to being mathematically eliminated. So this is their last gasp effort right here. Chargers are 4-0 inside the division. They win this and they end up in some kind of tie with Denver. They'll win the tiebreaker. But Kansas City's defensive front should be able to do some damage. The Eagles didn't have Jalen Carter Monday night. And it seemed to me Justin Herbert with that bad left hand was running for his life the whole game. I think he had like 10 or 11 carries. Every time he dropped back, he was under siege. So I think KC is going to get to the quarterback here. Um, Chargers will have to run. They didn't do a great job of it against the Eagles. 5 field goals and the one in overtime that wins it. But if you turn it the other way, just flip it over. I think you said it already. Kansas City's offensive line can't protect Mahomes at all. And LA can come after you too. They came after Jalen Hurts. And that game that we watched Monday night, to me, looks very similar to this one that we're going to see on Sunday afternoon. Almost the same thing. Nobody can block. Nobody can protect. Who's going to make the big play? For the Eagles, they got the 52-yard run out of Saquon, but the Chargers fought it off on their home field. I don't know. It's going to be like 13 degrees here in this game, which may affect the bad hand of Herbert more than it would Mahomes at quarterback. I guess that's where I have to come down on this game is do I think that Patrick Mahomes can make more plays under pressure than Justin Herbert can? Tough decision, but maybe. So I would lean Kansas City, but there's nothing that they've done recently that suggests that they're going to win a game like this. So we'll see how it goes. It's a difficult game to play, probably under. What's the total in this game, by the way? It's
41.5. It came down from 44.5.
boy, it still seems high. Skee 24-17. You still win if you're betting on under. And for one of these teams to get to 24 might be a miracle. What do we see? Monday night it was 22-19. Is that right? 41. got all kinds of field goals in that game. I think under might be the best play here. To tell you the truth, people have gotten to it and made the number a little bit less valuable, but a lot of games land on 41, man. I don't know. Not
All
sure.
right, we kind of agree on that game. Um, Detroit and the Rams. Rams open 4.5 and is up to 6. Total up from 50.5 to 55. I just I just think the Rams are better. I just think the Rams are better. That's just it is what it is, and the Rams can do whatever they want with a banged up Detroit team. I feel like just like almost like Kansas City, maybe not as extreme, but Detroit just too banged up, and Rams have too many weapons. It's Rams or nothing for me in that one. How do you feel?
Well, I agree. I mean, Detroit, and they're banged up in bad places. Banged up where their strength lies in the offensive line that's banged up, and they're banged up in the secondary. And you just don't want to play Nakua and Devontae Adams and Stafford and that passing game. Right now, Detroit, the past couple of weeks, they can't stop anybody. And I don't know how they're going to stop the Rams. The question is, can Detroit score with them? And the Rams pass rush is so good, Skee. That front seven is so good that there's going to be, in my estimation, at least 2 to 3 more possessions where the Rams stop Detroit and Detroit can't stop the Rams. And so when you start adding stuff up like that, you say 2 to 3 possessions. What is that worth? It's probably worth 7 points. We're only laying 6.5. So I would be on Rams. I think Rams total is probably good. I don't see Detroit holding anybody under 30 in their current state. So there's a couple of ways that I'll be looking at that, but certainly the Rams look like a good side of team that needs to win. They're both desperate, and boy, Detroit's got weaponry, but I don't know. People have bet this thing to 55 for a reason. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of points here. Probably Rams, maybe a little Ram team total.
All right, Vino. Maybe this will be the last one here. Buffalo and New England.
Mm,
I feel like Buffalo definitely needs wins. I mean, I think actually no, Buffalo can still win the division, right?
okay.
Um, they need to win this game though. So it's a huge game. The question is, or question for me at least is, as a New England, I mean, they did beat Buffalo earlier in the season, but I mean, is Buffalo even good this year? Is Buffalo really good? That's the question. I'm not sure. New England, have they just been, benefits of an easy schedule? Absolutely. This is a tough game for that reason. I can understand why the total's gone up a little bit there. I want to say I trust Josh Allen more than I trust Jake May. Drake May. So I'll lean right now, I guess, Bills and over. This game is tough. Any thoughts from you?
Yeah, situational. I think you would lean on Buffalo. Reasons you described. It really, I mean, New England's 3-0 in a division. Like you say, if Buffalo loses this game, there is no divisional hope. And if I look really quick here at conference standings, they're sixth right now. A loss probably kicks them out of the playoff race for at least a week. There's a couple of 8-5s behind them. But you could argue the fact that Buffalo was lucky to win last week. Joe Burrow was absolutely dominant in the snow. I think he was like 22 for 26 at one point against that defense. And if it isn't for a couple of freakish tipped passes that Buffalo picked off in the fourth quarter, almost within like 2 minutes of each other, Buffalo doesn't even win that game. 39-34 the final. The one thing Buffalo can do really, really well is run the football. They might be one of the best running teams, or they are one of the best running teams in the NFL. And I think where New England's defense is concerned, been more worried about their pass defense this season than their run defense. So Buffalo into a New England strength. I think the point here, Skee, is that situationally, it all adds up for Buffalo. Fundamentally, it kind of leans towards New England, and they're the home team here. Makes it real tough. I don't know. I wouldn't talk anybody off either side, but I don't think I'll play.
All right, Vino, I think we did a pretty good job here. Unless there's anything else you would like to talk about in the NFL, then we'll move it right along.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this, guys. Over at wagertalk.com, and we're off a win last night, but I do have another big play up and available there. We won't talk about it here, but I have been running really, really good in NFL. This is kind of promo on top of everything else. Sorry about that. The bad out of line here, out of order. But go ahead and pick that up at wagertalk.com. I don't see another game here, Skee, that really. I'll say this. I'll say this real quick for those watching. The Minnesota Dallas game on Sunday night to me, now that CD Lamb has been cleared, is a I don't know. I don't know if I should use this phrase, but I'll use it anyway. Looks to me like a dead nuts over. Um, 47 and a half in a Dallas game when Dallas is at home, the way they score at home, and CD Lamb's going to play. And JJ McCarthy and company looked a little bit more settled in offensively last week. So to me, I would say very quickly that the Minnesota Dallas is a game that appeals to me. That game going over 47 and a half.
Yeah, I'd probably just knowing the Cowboys this year. I'll just not that it can't go over, but I would just chop it in half and do the first half. But good stuff, Rob Veno. Before we go to best bets, let's go ahead and put some of that stuff we usually do put up here. And we'll start with Weekend Warrior. If you would like every football play, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday Night Football, including 5%, you can get them for only $49. If you're looking for some basketball, you can get the full court all access pass. That is 3 days of NBA and college basketball for only 49 bucks. You can go long term, get 500 bucks off a 1 year pass. That comes out to just 125 a month. And if you pick up Rob Vino for a year, for example, you'll get a 25% bonus coupon that you can use on myself. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps up that promo. So best bets, I'm gonna pass it right back to you, Ravino. If there's anything else you'd like to promote, go for it. If you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it.
All right, I used up my promotion time. I'm done with that. You know what, Ski? I didn't really. I don't think I led anybody in any type of good direction in the NBA today. So what I'll do is I'll leave you a best bet on a college basketball game that I played tonight. I know it's a little random. We're going off the board on an NBA show here, but Xavier plays at home against Missouri State tonight. I won't go into firm detail here, but they are a team under Richard Pitino that's been better and better and better as the games go by. Their team total is 83 and a half tonight. That game I haven't played already. It is a client selection over 83 and a half. So I'll leave you that as a best bet here today. Xavier out of college hoop for those who do play it. Their team total 83 and a half up and over tonight in that game.
All right, good stuff for Ravino. And for myself, I will go ahead and go with, talk it out here on the show. Open up my wallet. We're gonna go with the Nets plus the 8 points. Just Dallas. I'm just not a believer in them being a favorite, especially this big. They've covered 0 out of 5 games as a home favorite so far this year. I understand they've been playing a little bit better, but combination of that, and I mentioned in the comments from Nemhard about we're trying to get Anthony Davis the ball too much. I just don't don't think everything is quite where they need it to be chemistry wise right there yet. So I like the Nets plus all those points. I think they can keep this one respectable as my best bet for the show. Vino, always appreciate you taking the time to do the show with me. Helps my process. I'm sure it helps everybody else as well. People out there in the chat, we appreciate you tapping in, sharing your insight, helping everybody get to the window. And appreciate you guys supporting the show. If you could hit the like button, we would appreciate it. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action tonight. We'll be back on Monday, and we will catch you all then.